So that is what Uche Mofor has been saying with the teams that he set up, even till last night when they were talking. Because whom again will be listening? And he's stating some certain things many things that are not accurate. If Uche Mofor could today be calling our leader, all sort of names, blackmail, I want to tell Biafran this. Uche Mofor, yes, he may have been contacted by the secret service of the country where he resides. He may have been paid by the zoo government to do some certain things. Or he may have been contacted by his half brother, who is Law Mofor, who is working with the zoo government all along. Uche Mofor never disclosed that to Biafrans. But Uche Mofor is now running his mouth like a mad woman, talking all sorts of things that are not accurate. And Mazi Anayo is a very close person, closer to Uche Mofor than so many of us. We are not from his town. He came up and distanced himself from that man and said, if I get that man, I will be the best person to strike him. A lot of people have that notion, have that thing. Some may have not said it because of the place where they are residing, but so many of us have that belief system that this man will never step his foot in Biafran land as long as I live. Because it's not appropriate. No one has ever done it and lived. You can't send people to go and protest for their right, and they were shot at and they were killed. All of a sudden you run out and say, this is not, and even saying that we are promoting violence. Are we in the northern place killing their people, raping their women? No. The Fulanis are in our region, raping our women, killing our people, destroying our farm produce, and destroying our, the thing that, give us livelihood, our farms, destroying our businesses, even in the north. If you set up a business, they will burn it down and tell you, oh, this is a Sharia country or a Sharia state. You are not allowed to conduct anything like hotel, nightclub, breweries. But when the one in the south, southeast, or southwest, they will have those things and make business out of it, pay tax, and that tax, Fulanis will take it and saying they are majority in number, that they are not Northerners. That revenue that comes from those businesses, Fulani will share it, but they will want that business to be in the north. Tell me why you should believe that Nigeria should not divide. Tell me why you should believe in that Nigeria. Where the treatment is not equal. Categorically is not equal. Uche Mofor never spend 1 minute to go for Nigerian and the Nigerian terrorist government. Uche Mofor will never use his time to go for Nigeria terrorist movement activities. He will never use his time to draw people attention to that fraudulent constitution. Uche Mofor will not do that. Uche Mofor will get calls from different quarters and different people he programmed, paid for, to come on air and be talking while he's sleeping, snoring at the end, and he muted his microphone. And Uche Mofor, his main aim is to do what he was paid for to do. What I can tell Biafran is this: before your enemy will kill you, your enemy will destroy your partnership. If you are in partnership with somebody,
Grammarly can help you write quickly and confidently, so you never have to slow down at work.
Who is Uche Mofor working for? And who those people behind him whom they are working for? Uche Mofor never believed in the restoration project that after we come. Uche Mofor believed that this is our take. He thought our leader is not doing what he thought our leader is Yahoo, like him. So Uche Mofor was expecting him to be bringing money so that they will be sharing. Uche Mofor didn't know that ESN, Eastern Security Network, is on the way. I have had many people who called me because when Obi Obienu was spreading this negative news in America, before even this thing came on air, before Uche Mofor, they are working to that courage to step aside. Never believe in the restoration project 100 calls. Whenever we come, they ask me, Uche Mofor believe that you are the only one I can ask this question and I trust. You thought our leader is not, is there any security preparation we have? You thought our leader is behind because like so the only information that I'm getting to be bringing money, there is nothing that will be sharing. Uche Mofor didn't know that he is scamming people. Eastern Security Network. Nothing is coming. Americans believe that security network. That is the reason why when they saw Americans believe that security network. That is the reason why all of them believe. Most of them believe that they must be security network. All of them believe. Most of them believe that they must be security network. All of them believe. Most of them believe that they must be security network. All of them believe. Most of them believe that they must be security network. That we are hearing. I don't want if anything happen, our people will be massacred. I don't think there is. I don't want if anything happen, our people will be massacred. I don't want if anything happen, I estrayed our leader in the spirit while he was in jail. That was when I estrayed the spirit, and Elohim was in very loud and clear. That was when I estrayed the spirit. My servant, he was in very loud and clear. That was when I estrayed the spirit. My attention to whatever he's telling you. Loud and clear. Just like Jesus went to John the Baptist to baptize, and a voice spoke from heaven. That voice is still speaking. If you don't hear that voice, that means you are not in that frequency. You are lost. That's why you couldn't hear. So that voice spoke. And I answered the gentleman that called me. I said to him, watch and see. I'm not, our leader told us, wait till 2000 and end of our year, December, you will see something. Wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? Do you think so? Wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, wait, I said, do you think he was end of our year, December, you will see something? I don't think, a fool. I have had even someone of a high esteem in this movement called me. That was when I knew that something is wrong with this man. He said, there is nothing happening. Let him set a kind of government. But because he doesn't have, it's like he's moving around like a tourist. He said it clearly to me. And not our leader hasn't even, he doesn't even know me. He talk less of making me his emissary. But I was acting as a emissary, as a diplomat. I was representing him accurately. I said, no, sir. If this thing is not true, I wouldn't have put my dime in it. If this man is not genuine, I wouldn't have stepped out and for people to see my face. This is true. I will never hide when I'm fighting for Biafra. The enemies that are ripping us off are the one that should be in hiding, not me. I've not seen maybe a criminal come. It is criminal that should cover their faces, not the owner of the house. So these Western powers are coming in our place and making us do the Fulanis with their British counterparts, the Dutch. And I'm the one hiding. Instead of them to run, they will run. And we will shake them, they will run. So what are we talking about? Uche Mofor is a man that, oh God, he doesn't have vision. Visionless man. Very heartless and wicked. That is Uche Mofor. Uche Mofor is out of touch, even when I met him on one-on-one, close range, which is counterpart those ones running around with him. Very heartless people. Tell me if you are legalized and you don't want your fellow brothers and sisters to be legalized. Tell me about that. I love what Emeka Gift wrote. I read what Emeka Gift wrote. If you haven't read it, go to his homepage and read that thing that man wrote about Uche Mofor. Uche Mofor thinks that he will use the blood of Biafrans to practice his human rights lawyer. That IPOB, our contribution paid for. One like ever practice here. Where will he be to practice that thing? Obuho obose eburo sisi ko na hu. Oburu obose akwaturu osisi ko osisi na hu. He doesn't think about our people. That is why I will always recommend or commend Anayo for standing up. We love people like that. If you are my brother, if you are my friend and sis, and you engage into some certain fraudulent activities or insubordination or a wicked act in this movement, before heaven and earth, if it gets to my notice, I will go for you. Regardless of whatever you may think you are, I will go for you. Sooner or later, I will track you down. A lot of people are talking, oh yeah, I will. Don't you be. Listen, if you are in my position, you will do damages to people. People that have power don't talk. People that have power don't talk. There was a day we were in Trafalgar Square. I came there to supervise our people. I was badged. I don't wear badge publicly. My badge stays inside. And I had a team of law enforcement agents around. So I was greeting one of our brothers who saw me. So our body language, because they were watching me, so they thought maybe that guy was resisting my instructions. So they came immediately to apprehend the brother. So I said, this police white guy, you know, they said, what's going on? Is he? I said, no. We are actually he was excited. He's excited to see me, and I'm excited to see him because we lost contact for a long time. So the man said, oh, okay. Then that was when that brother saw that man moving back to his position. He saw where they crowded, where they were. And he said, are you with us? I said, of course. You think they are not around? So I don't wear uniform. But I put my profession, my badge at stake for this. So if I die on the process, you think I will regret? I didn't die young. So this man, whomever that may have contacted this idiot, and he started talking. Hear what this man, Uche Mofor, all these men, hear what they are saying. You will know that these guys are paid by a Nigerian agent to do this nonsense. I will apologize to South African because I always use our people to say, our people can do this, so my people can do this. I will apologize. I will write the apology letter to them because back in the days I was telling them, I never knew that this bunch of idiots can be bought with a morsel of bread. What can they pay you for your freedom? To jettison your freedom, to abandon your freedom and that of others. What can they give you for you to start talking rubbish? If you tell me to step down, I will go and step down and sleep. It is holiday for me. Our leader always say, we live to Kenya. If you kick a toad or frog, you give it a lift because he's always hopping. And I love the Dutch name for frog. They call it kicker. So if you kick it, you give the kicker lift. So our leader sacrificed greatly and still sacrificing. Is Uche Mofor's mother and father, did they die as a result of freedom fighting? I heard our leader saying, I hate the black people. He's a black man, remember. I am also a black person. We all Africans were black. He said, I hate, that he hate them he hate them as being wicked and unreasonable. That is what he meant. Look at the policy. Look at the Yoruba media. They don't even recognize that this man was shot in his house. They shot at him in his house and killed 28 people, including his pet. Jack killed everything there, and he narrowly escaped death. And some people are saying, "Where did you run to? You are run away, soldier." These are bunch of wicked souls and heartless human beings. Luciferians, I call them. Luciferians. People without compassion. People whose conscience are seared with hot iron. They are dead, walking. And I am associating, if I had known that this Uche Mofor, because I know already, but not too early when it started, I would have taken that idiot out. I will never wait. If I pass the message to our leader and he doesn't want to pay attention, I will let them do the job. Animal he is. And he's telling people standing in his comfort zone in that place where he is residing, talking about the movement, IPOB do this, IPOB bullying people, Eastern security, that terrorists of me. The generation, you will never come back, you will never reincarnate. Uche Mofor, you won't. You are nobody, but I just want to assure anybody listening that you are nothing. IPOB made you. Not that you have acquired every status before you came to the movement. The movement gave you status. You were statusless. You were statusless. You don't have any status. It is the movement that gave you status. The blood of Biafrans gave you status. You got it and you turned your back against Biafrans. You think our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will not speak about you. It is.
Are you still there, Mazi?
Combine them together. Obi was indicted before for fraud, embezzling, and not letting people that know what to do come up to do the job. He always demoralizing people, talking down on people, and doing all sorts of negative things. Even when I came to sow my offering, Obi almost talked me off. I said, "You should have prayed for me that I am here to sow this seed." So what is it for? Not everybody got that kind of money. Don't expect everybody to pay that money. Imagine that. I quickly stopped the one that used to go on direct debit, and after that one I gave, I didn't give to that platform anymore. I am talking from personal encounter. I think it was before the atonement, a week before then, I gave that 1,000, I think 1 ounce or so. That is what this man that should have prayed for me said. I said, I don't see your seat existing. And he has been doing it to many people. What about Omeire? The dog that is talking, bingo, that is talking. If they give him a little thing, he's jumping up and down and talking. Thinking he has people. You can't bite the finger that fed you. It's a sin against Elohim. Biafran fingers all over the world, we are all for you, supporting you, paying you, giving you whatever. But you lost vision, you don't have vision. You don't know what you are talking about. You will get on the platform. What you will descend is on the Yorubas. Yoruba did you this, Yoruba did you that. And you have Yoruba people too, because they don't know your face. Because you will talk about them in for the Yorubas. You know, as we, Biafrans and the Yorubas or Duduwas have connected for a very long time. We've been good neighbors. Yorubas and Biafrans have been doing business. Even those that haven't come to this platform, this family IPOB, they have been doing business and no issues. They have been building Yorubas or Moniles. If they have Igbo agents that is connecting them to Igbo rich men, they will be eating. You can't sever them, you can't separate us. Moniles live on the Igbos to connect them to people with money to buy properties in Lagos and even Ogun State. sometimes area of Ikorodu. They are there. That's their business. Igbos and Yorubas. And this man will begin to lash them. Yoruba did what Igbos did some certain things too. Even to your attack, to tell about people. Can we talk? So it's not only for the idiot from Benue State saying we Igbos play always victim. We are not playing any victim. We are telling it the way it is. So Mazi Nnamdi, who has been living on Biafran's sweat, even mine, I was sending money to him. Our leader doesn't know about it. It was from my benevolency, out of my benevolent heart. My heart, I was giving that man money until Elohim spoke to me and said, that man is evil. Ojibe is evil. He's an evil man. A wicked man. Look at how he is, how he looks like. Even every appearance of Mazi Nnamdi states satanic. Satanic indeed. He said, who is blackmailing who? I don't have time to black. Anything I tell you is what I'm doing. I have to, I not only me, many other people in America, they were giving you money. You thought you've gotten them. You've gotten us. Shame on you. You will pay heavily for what you have sold. For the word of God states that God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he shall reap. You will reap what you sowed. Mazi Anayo, I commend you for your stand. For you look at, the barriers. Look at things you should have looked into, but you didn't look at them. Looking at from the area of being from the same place, you didn't look at it. Looking at from the area of being the same Anambra as they think. Biafran agitation, restoration has nothing to do with Anambra and Igbo. We didn't shoot that Anambra. We were East Central states. We were Biafrans before we joined, amalgamated to become part of Nigeria. We were never Anambra Imo, Ebonyi. These are the things they created while you are even a grown man or woman. And you are doing what? So what I can say to them is this, that the evil they sow, we hunt them. If you think the security network is your nightmare, that will remain your nightmare, because you now feel, oh, these security men are everywhere. I can never go back home. That's what they're thinking. That they can never go back home. So let them do what? The one idiot call from Canada talking. What are you doing in Canada? If you are a man enough, find yourself, locate yourself in Biafra land. Our leader located himself in he said, I will be there. He said he broadcasted from the zoo, and the zoo couldn't do anything. He was at the airport. He was broadcasting or talking to people about the evil of Nigeria at their airport. He was in the court, told the people there, tell Buhari that he's a madman. And Uche Mofor is in London sleeping and snoring. Now he's talking, and he's gonna get some certain folks in Biafra land. You think you follow Uche Mofor because he's your Anambra brother or Idemili brother? He's gonna save you. You are an idiot. He can't step out of United Kingdom. He can't get out. Where will he go? Where will he go? People that are men are talking. Uche Mofor is talking. One now, ask me anything in Dewo.
Mazi, thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. No, Mazi, you've said so many things. So many things you've said. That is what this show is all about. All right, Mazi, I want us to discuss a little bit about the ESN. But before we do that, I know our time is fast going, but I also want us to discuss a little bit about our leader. Our leader has gone through so many things. It's just like we reading the Bible today. The story of your Yeshua. It's just, when you read it in the Bible, it seems so simple. Story of about 5 to 10 years, you will read it in just 2-3 paragraph, and you think that is it. Our leader has gone through so many things. I remember when our leader was telling us about what he went through, and one of our sisters also made mention on that on Radio Biafra. I think on my namesake Obilo Anthony's program this morning. He said he remember what our leader passed through when he went to marry. I don't know if you can touch a little bit on that. The women, they urinate and pour it on our leader. Not just that they naked our leader, and the women urinate and pour it on him. What kind of humiliation is that? Yet he is still moving forward. Not just that, Nigerian government alone is hunting him. Even those that are his own people is hunting him, trying to kill him. Now you have this one, the one you call Ababo, fronting himself with radio human rights, is also hunting our leader. Please, can you go a little bit further on this story that can you go a little bit further about it before we
there is a saying in Igbo language, if a little canary, the new hatched canary is still in the mother's nest, that nest was built by the mother. The mother laid the egg that hatched that canary out. He hasn't grown wings yet. He said that his mother doesn't know how to fly. That is Uche Mofor. What can anyone listening to this moron, what can he say that this man will take him to? Where can they say that Uche Mofor will take them to? With the way Uche Mofor, the level of his understanding, the scope of his knowledge, the versatility of Uche Mofor's mindset. Is not a versatile man. What can Uche Mofor offer? You went and write law. There are many people with PhD degrees, even in law. They are not talking. They are relaxed. Some of them doesn't have the temerity, the boldness to speak. Our leader from nowhere began to speak like what Yeshua did. Yeshua HaMashiach did. He came to the temple where they were having people to come to do sacrifice. Why our leader, why Yeshua turned the upside down? You know what? The corruption that was in the temple was so heavy. He came there, he saw the Pharisees and the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Sanhedrin, the high priest. They projected on certain people who will be there exchanging money and giving them animal for sacrifice. So when you bring animal without blemish, you have to come with animal without blemish for your sacrifice or atonement. So when you come there, these people will locate one thing in that animal and tell you that the one you came with is not good, that you have to buy the one they are having. The thing became business too. And the people will now go back, abandon the animal they came with. They will take it back and buy the one the high priest and these Pharisees and Sanhedrin were selling to them, and they will sell it double the price just to extort money from them. So this thing came to Elohim. Elohim sent his son there. When he got there, he kicked everything, the table, everything upside down. The table of money changers, and went to the place where the cage where they put the doves and let the dove fly off, and then all of them flew away. If you bring your dove, they will say your dove is spotted. He has a walking hipparty hop. It doesn't work properly. In fact, this dove is not qualified for this. Buy this one. That's what they were doing. Haji, the Church of God, Abambere. That is what Uche Mofor, Mazi Onnyibe. I heard our brother Jonathan Chinedu last night saying Onnyibe was collecting money for even his comrades to come on air to talk. He will collect money from them. What a wicked man. And this Jonathan Chinedu, our brother, was confirming it with every authenticity. He wasn't lying, because I had it already. I had it as well. And these are the type of people that Yeshua saw and kicked them out from the temple. Say, don't use my father's house as a place of merchandise. Don't use IPOB, Biafran agitation, restoration, as a place of merchandise. That is what we are doing here. Some people are using it as a place of merchandise where they do transaction. They are always on the air. And when you listen to them, you think these guys are freedom fighters. Put him in business, he will double cross you. It's not a freedom fighter. And you are telling me not to talk. If you have the vision and see what is at stake, you will never let any opportunity slip out of your hands. When our leader came to do wedding, Wazurike and his men caught him, humiliated him. Women urinated at him. What does that mean? To break you. When that thing is done to you, you will feel that you are not man enough. It will leave stigma in mind. You can't be bold or bodacious and audacious to speak. Look at our leader. Is he not bodacious and audacious when he's talking? I love what our beloved friend, the journalist Dele Momundu, said about him. He said that man is talk and do man. That man and this ESN are very disciplined people. That is why there are so many encounters. I got the update. First, second, third, and fourth encounter with ESN, Nigerian military ran off. They couldn't withstand them. They come with speed of lightning. They are very quick. They are very quick in action. Nigerian Boko Haram terrorist army ran off. Oh, the almighty army that always come. Python dance 1, Python dance 2. They can't go to Sambisa to fight. Only at the eastern region to fight. To go and humiliate people. And one lied down like a masked man shooting somebody on a range, on a stage, and shot a woman, opened the score with AK-47. Uche Mofor and the rest will not see it. All they want to say, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is bringing war because they are paid to be saying that. They are Nigerian agents. If you hear them saying, like after night, they will say, oh, I hate Nigeria so much, I never like. It is a lie. An agent will never tell you that, I love that the Nigeria. If they are Nigerian agent, they won't tell you openly, verbally that they love Nigeria. They will tell you they hate Nigeria. You're falling. But when you extract their activities, their alterations, what they are saying, their comments, that is what will make you to understand that these guys are working for Nigeria. In as much as that they are blaming IPOB, saying, oh, he's working for politicians, he's collecting money from the politicians, they are giving him money, and this is what they are, the blackmail they are coming up with. So Wazurike did it. Do you think that Wazurike will be at peace to watch Biafra to come under Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Wazurike, if he's a smart guy, he will go for exile. And they are saying, there are things they are saying, oh, why can't he go and attack all these politicians? Why are they going to Obunike? Why are they attacking? Why can't they go and attack, what is his name? Onyesonwike? Why can't they do anything? Obienu, Mazi Obienu. Let me tell you something. Anything. Let me tell you something. You don't write agenda for IPOB. The person doing the command and control with giving directives is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He knows when to tell them to stand up, they will stand. When to sit, they will sit. When to move, they will move. It is not you. So you cannot tell our leader or the Biafrans what to do, because you lack the vision. You don't have it. You never have it. Talk less of lacking it. This thing is what they always tell me in those days. There are some certain guys that when I meet them, their size will scare me, and they will be, doing all sorts of things to me. One day, And my mom said to me, there's a guy that always bully me around. And my mom got angry and took me to bitter leaf tree that stem. And we had a bitter leaf plantation where we planted bitter leaf in our place. And pull one stem and use it on me. Wiped me bitterly. Said, do you know that you are a few months older than that guy? I said, but what buribu? My mom asked him, short mind. If you see him, he look like Goliath. Goliath appearance, but he has a heart of ant. It's not a man. He is talking when you hear. Listen, these people, I don't know what to do to our people. Sometimes I feel like I am Yeshua HaMashiach, where can you understand the Nisi? Some of us, we are very gullible that somebody will call you from overseas, you think he has arrived. Batano obodo Igbo kefune nwere ndeka enwere chikashi. Batano obodo Igbo kefune nwere level obodo Igbo. So ndị a na-agbo gị say gị do this for me. You are in Africa, I'm in overseas. Tell him to shut up. Tell him to shut up. Overseas, you are in overseas doesn't give you what it takes. It is the level where you are. And if you are at that level, you will not be calling people in Africa to do this and do that. Issues others also. Look at Uche Mofor here. I'm a Kwameba organ and Uche Mofor Aduro. I know when he's eating, chopping Aduro under IPOB today, because this man, all these men, I don't think our leader may forgive them all, but me in my heart, I know where I put them. I know where I put them. Plus those ones that are still in IPOB doing the same rubbish. I know them. You think they like that I'm on air talking? I know them. I know them. Our leader didn't tell me anything to come and do damage control. I came naturally. You know that you didn't send a message last night to me. Not at all. You never posted anything to me. Look at what I'm going to ask you. Not at all.
No.
Yes, but you never did that. But it is something that is born in you. What is in you? When I finished that last time, I had a brother coming. Oh, I am praying for Rabbi, nothing for him not to fall. Hey, Chideketa. Mazi, I love you so much. I love your prayers. Pray for others. My life is in Biafra, hanged in this restoration. I didn't see IPOB when I sued a country in Europe. I took them to International Court of Human Rights. That country gave me their citizenship, but I still sued them for evil that they are doing. I told them, if you want to take the citizenship, go ahead and do it. I'm using African country nationality. I will go and remain there. If what gives you money is not the red passport. You can have the red passport if your country's own is red. American own, I think, is blue. The African own is green. They gave us green because it's a jungle. Green leaves, green tree. And Europeans are using Europeans are using red. The color of their passport is red. Chinese is red. They gave Africa. South Africa used to be blue. When ANC took over, it became blue. It became green. And the other countries, European Union is red. For the fact that you have it, we never put food on your table. All it gives you is security and sense of belonging, free movement. But to become anything has to do with your mind, what you have upstairs. I know many people that have it, they are broke. And people that have it, they are in debt. They don't even know how to walk out of it. So what are we talking about here? So this is what this man is having, and he jumped inside forest. Our leader used to say, one language, A hungry man cannot do freedom fighting. If you can't stand on your own and feed yourself and your family, you cannot do freedom fighting, because if they offer you flash anything that costs currency, you will fall. So if they couldn't break our leader by urinating on him, beating him up, tying him, and giving him all kind of assault, he's still up and is still standing and talking. There is a day for payment, and all of them will get their salary. Mazi, our people, if you let me correct what I said, or paraphrase on what I said. I called somebody up because of his structure. I am probably bigger than him, or different on different ways. I'm muscular in my own structure, okay? And it's not by his physical appearance. I am talking of his sanity. Ababu doesn't move. If you keep Ababu here, it will not move. It will remain there. That's what I mean. Uche Mofor can't move. Our leader can move. Our leader is flexible in mind. Our leader can engage you for as long as, if for the next century, he will engage you in discussion. We are off. Our leader will be standing. Our leader doesn't sleep on a program. Some people will say, Uche Mofor is spiritually Ababu. Because we have to look at things. People, because a simple-minded person will say he will go because he's huge. No, hugeness is the man. Me marry here. Hugeness is the even ade bube me pota. Me marry here kwa. Obugi ida dimpa. Our people, my mom always say, na madu buri bu kobo buru na nego. The old kobo, if you see that penny, it is bigger than even 50 pence, 50 kobo. In that time, it was in coins. If you see one penny even in England, it's bigger than 20 pence, 20 penny. But that kobo that is big cannot get you anything of significance, anything tangible. They can't even give you, a can of Coca-Cola. But it's huge. That is exactly what I'm saying. Some people are wired like to be elephant, but in their mind they are rabbits. You see, there is one thing, this bird that I talked about the other day, Oboko. Oboko is a bird. A lot of people will always say, Oboko is a bird that is wired to fly. But Oboko cannot fly properly. This Elohim has ways of creating. He created these things for us to use it to express ourselves. If somebody call you also, that means you don't belong to the flying birds and you don't belong to the crawling animals. Because if you go to the flying birds, they will say, wait, what are you doing here? I can see teeth in your mouth. Then if it goes to the one that is crawling, they will say, what are you doing with wings here? So also is bat. It doesn't belong to the flying birds in the air, and it doesn't belong to the crawling animals on the ground. So somebody can be spiritual also. By his behavior, he's a bat. He doesn't belong anywhere. And also only sees clearer at night. These guys operate in the dark. They don't come to the public as our leader does come to the public. They walk in the dark. That is, God gave us these things in order for us to use it to express ourselves. So I am not telling him because it's huge by structure. After all, Obidio is bigger than Mazi Mofor. The center and 10 pence. So you just get huge. That that you will use your size to do significant achievement. When they needed people of high duty structure to come out, you will be hiding. Toughness. Or Ashabazi Obi Afuria. Shabazi Uche Mofor. Shaba Dimba Nkena Bambana Radio. Mazi Onibe Afuria. Ohani Nebara voicemail. Now operating the dark. That is what I'm trying to say. Now coming to what you are saying about the ESN and our leader not telling them, and how long will this thing take to take our leader to achieve? Let me tell us something. When God told Moses, or when God said in his prophetic declaration about the state of Israel, he said they will be in the land of Egypt for 4 days. That is what their treachery will put them into. What the act of the sons of Jacob did to Joseph brought them down there. And he said 400 years they will be in that slavery. But do you know that Moses was visited by God? He gave him that heart to deliver them at the age of at the period of 390 years. 10 years to 400 years was when this thing, the restoration, came into place. But the people did not understand. God actually minus 10 years of suffering from them. Do you know? Because I have dealt with this before, and let me do it again in a different place. What God intended to do was to allow the present Pharaoh as at that time to die. If that present Pharaoh had died, Moses would have been the Pharaoh of Egypt. And Moses could have, while he's in that position, he knew that he was a Hebrew man. He knew, though he speaks Egyptian language, he dresses like them, he acts like them. He doesn't live in Goshen. He lives in the place where they were living. Who knows? It could be Cairo. It could be Alexandria. I don't know where the position is today, but it is the same. Now, Moses could have rose up as a Pharaoh and said, "From today, I will abolish this thing. Let these people go. I don't want them to be here." So when he has discharged them at night, Moses will flee and run away. You see, and the council of heaven gathered together, and they said, "This thing is an act of cowardice." Let me tell you, this is deep. The council of heaven gathered together and said, "This is like escape. Why are you the God of wonders? Where are these your wonderful or wondrous acts that you possess?" You know, this is a being that you can challenge. If you go, I come from a royal family. When you come to the palace of a king, you don't talk to him, "King, I don't know if you are credible enough or capable enough to do this." If you come to the palace of my grandfather, you say, "I'm a Nizuru Keme." While he's eating, situation or I'm here, and that situation, where is that thing? That is a king. That's how God behaves. So the council of God began to talk to Elohim. He said, "If you do this way," the history book, they said, "You are not capable to perform wonders, and you just deceive them to escape." Remember, he said to Moses, tell Pharaoh you are going to 3 days worship. That you are just going for 3 days. While the council of God was in the heaven talking, they even came again and told him, "If if they do this thing now, this is escape. This is coward escape. And God said, is that so? They said yes. The council of heaven said yes. Not alone. You see, this thing, you don't see it in your scripture. I will bring it to what we are doing now. They said yes. Why are you the God of wonders? Where are those wonderful acts? You actually created this world by spoken words. You said, let there be light, light came. Let this, let that happen. And Elohim said, is that so? He said, yeah. He said, now I will harden the heart of Pharaoh to say no. Read it, it's in your scriptures. He said, I will harden his heart to disobey the order. And he said to Moses, go and tell Pharaoh you are going for 3-day sacrifice. And Pharaoh said to him, you can go with your this, with your that, but leave the animals behind. And don't go very far away. Go where I will be seeing you. Moses came back. God got what he's looking for. And said to him, and Moses said to Elohim, look at what the cabinet are saying. Look at what Pharaoh is saying. And Elohim said, I will go to the river Nile in the morning. Who comes there to bath? Just touch that rock there and you will see what will happen. I have commanded you. And Moses departed from his presence till the 10th plague completely occurred. Remember, look at what our leader said. People don't catch what he's saying prophetically. He said they killed 5 million above Biafrans. He said, I will not let this thing go like that until those people that killed our people, God's people, that the number will go down to above 5 million. Watch out. I don't want to speak in tongues. I'm holding myself. I don't want to speak in tongues. That means a kind of extension has been added. It is God that is hardening the heart of the zoo. The handlers of the zoo, be them from the British section or from the Fulanis. It is Elohim that is hardening them in order to do his wonders. Get the message. I did not have consultation with our leader, Onyendu, but I can see in the spirit. He said it. He said, you know what? The killings, the massacrings, the destructions, we get to 5 million people above. Then I will now said, I am done with all this because they killed a lot of people. And you see what is going on there. There are those that we don't record going on in the north. Killings going on there. All of them participated in the killing of Biafrans. I am not happy with to them over there. They are normally, naturally, they should be our brothers and our sisters. But because they apply this hatred, they endorse it, this ethnic cleansing, they endorse this genocidal activities, the killing of the Biafran, just like anti-Semitism, the massacring of the Jews, the taking of the Jews to gas chambers and assassinated them there and killed them. Elohim said, I will remember their iniquities and punish them. I will punish them. For killing, yes, I put them in that place, but they killed them. I will remember it and I will punish them. Our leader, when things begin to take place, go and consult heaven. There is a consultation going on there above. That was when Elohim began to extend. And the children of Israel, actually, when Moses came wanting to deliver them, they triggered a kind of information to Pharaoh. And Moses ran to the land of Midian. But that was 390 years. God wanted to give them 10 years a grace to wait it, to take 10 years, shorten the time, to give them 390 years as a result of grace. But the children of Israel, because they lack the timing, they lack the understanding, they lack the knowledge of the days of their visitation, they now made Moses to run, because they went and told Pharaoh. The saboteurs went and sang to the ears of Pharaoh. Do you know that Moses is not even an Egyptian? This Moses you see, he killed one Egyptian, buried him in the sand. And he told us not to speak. If you can reduce this level, or if you can give me contract, then I will be telling you, giving you more information. And Pharaoh said, well done. And now went and increased their suffering. These saboteurs talking for the sabotaging this effort, all of them have families in Biafra. All of them, the Fulanis doesn't know who is who. When they come there, they can kill any members of their family unless they walk their families out of that zoo. You see, they don't know because they are very foolish and they are blind. They are very stupid. They are short-sighted. They don't understand the season and the timing. So they don't know. What they are doing is, give me, let me eat it and die here. Why they are suffering? So instead of them to come closer and team up with our and said, what can we do? This is amazing. This has now put fear in the eyes of the Fulanis. They cannot come and kill us like animals, like chicken. They cannot have their ways anymore. And we can support this. We can even partner with you. We will put money and we support this in. Let fear. But you cannot use ESN. Go and negotiate for 2023 Igbo presidents. You can't do that. Our people can't die for that. This thing, our leader gave look, you have sea everywhere in Biafran land. There is no seaport in Igbocha. There is no seaport in Warri. There is no seaport even in Kaba. There is no seaport in Niger, Onishadia. That thing can be drained and it will be converted to a viable seaport. They have the knowledge that we can do it, but they cannot. And you don't have airport in all these places that I mentioned that the people from that area travel the most. They cannot do that. So now they are now telling you to 2023, you a fool to believe them. Even Igbo man, if my papa is there, that he wants to become a Nigerian president, I swear before heaven, I will take a trip and gun him down. If he insists, I will say, okay, that's no problem. I will go and get a very good 9mm. At night, I will take him down. I will escape. I will do it. Because that is how I feel now. So you cannot understand that your people are suffering. You want to say 2023. On which constitution? Do you know that Buhari has died 2017? Buhari is late. He's not alive. Aisha Buhari, not Aisha Fulani. Aisha Buhari is Fulani. Aisha Buhari is in Dubai, living there. Which president can do? Which president's wife can do that? At least President Cyril Ramaphosa is with the wife in South Africa. Other presidents are living with them. You can go overseas, maybe you want to take a trip, as they always do. But they live together. And you are telling yourself that Buhari is alive, when every indication is indicating that Buhari has died. 2017, and these Fulanis are keeping it. You are not ashamed. None of you are ashamed. All the judiciaries there are not ashamed. All the lawmakers, enforcement agency, you are not. Boris Johnson is doing it. Anything, even COVID, he's always on TV. I will tell you something. The children of Israel spent 430 years. Moses spent from 390 years. Moses left and spent 40 years in the land of Midian. At the 40th year, when Elohim appeared to Moses in burning bush and sent him back. Moses had encounter with Pharaoh, heavy encounter. Do you know that Pharaoh actually wanted to assassinate Moses, but he couldn't? When he gets to that place, the wonders will appear. They will run back. Do you know that he has used his magician to pin Moses through their enchantment and incantation? And they couldn't. When they invoke the spirit will stand up and tell them, and tell the magicians, I see a pillar of fire around that man. And they will run back. Do you know that? Because you never have in your scripture, it is there. Pharaoh attempted to assassinate Moses, as Nigeria attempted to assassinate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You saw it on that fateful day, on the 14th of September 2017. We all saw it. And you want to sweep it under the carpet, Yoruba journalist? This is the thing. So our leader and Elohim and the council of heaven are having consultation. Obi Jobienu will tell you, which council of heaven? If you see dead people talking, I mean dead in the spirit. When you tell them the secret counsel of God, it is foolishness to their understanding. They won't understand. So the council of heaven now looked into the level of atrocity committed by Nigeria and the British. And they said, I will punish these people. I'm not satisfied with their things. And our leader, they have promised our leader so many times, okay, if you do this, if you call off this protest, we will do this. When our leader call it off, they will begin to do another thing. Didn't that happen in Egypt? When another plague will come, flies will come, Pharaoh will say, okay, I have repented. You can go. Just this fly to go. Tell it to go where it came from. Moses will come out and raise his hand and the rod and say, oh Lord, suspend this. And the next minute, you will not see them anymore. They will fly off. And Pharaoh will harden his heart, thinking, yes, it is a coincidence. And the next time, God will say, command frogs to come. Frog, he will tell Pharaoh, say, it is frog that will come. I am not telling you it's cockroach. It is frog. So when you see frog, you know that I'm the one that did it. This is what he said to Wike. If this thing, when this thing happened to you, don't say it was a coincidence. You know that I am the one that said it and it happened. Una de gente. Una chena onya hubaka. Onya huna gunu oku. Onya mduna gunu agwa yoku. Una chena that man hubaka. Ya oji n'eluigwe ka agwọ ya nye. I don't know. Oh my God. I think I spoke in tongues. I said, the day Biafra will come, I will speak in tongues. It came naturally out of my mouth. Biafra is here. I'm telling us. That man, Abagaka, Biafrans, that man, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Abagaka, Eziriozi, anyway, Eziriozi, Oge Ezishadiozi, accomplish here. Onwere ihe o kwuru. Ọ sị na Biafra degodi na ya ga-continue kwatilu Nigeria apụọ. Unu amụ ihe o minuru. Ọ bụ inuru ya Mazi. You had it.
Of course.
You had it.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God, if you speak to people that are not connected in the spirit, they won't understand this. Obi this year, you know 2020 Gabia. Do you know how many years ANC fought white oppression? Do you know how many years ANC fought that regime? The people that started it, all of them died. And eventually, Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Govan Beki, that is the father of Thabo Mbeki, were the last session we saw. We recorded them, I saw them, I know them, I met them alive. And you know Walter Sisulu, the one with gray hair. I didn't know Steve Biko, he died before I was even born. So something like that, yes. Oliver Tambo, I did not meet him. He's already dead. Before South Africa was liberated, so to say. I didn't meet them. There are those that Govan Beki, the father of Thabo Mbeki, knows Steve Biko, knows Oliver Tambo. His generation knows those ones in the past. You saw the man, nobody. I saw Clarence Makweto on Pan-African Congress. He was a member of ANC before the ANC moved out and said, one settler, one bullet. He had that slogan, one settler, one bullet. And they said, no, we don't want to use that slogan because of international communities. And ANC doesn't use that word. But PAC used to have that word, one settler, one Fulani, one bullet. That is what it means. One Fulani, one bullet. And PAC believed it. Can we talk about Bantu Holomisa, UDM, General Bantu Holomisa? I know them. These are the generations that I saw that fought for the liberation of South Africa. Their names are written in the book of life for liberating South Africa. No matter how we see it, at least South Africa was liberated. The young man I sent the picture was the one that after the inauguration, he was on the platform. They said you can't stand behind the president, and went to this level, condescended this low, and disgraced us. go to jail for life. They don't talk about whiter than white and whiter than snow. They practice it. You see, so when you are a principal officer or even coming as a member of IPOB, you appeared in a crime scene. You are into crime activities, fraudulent activities. You are not supposed to be talking on the radio. You should be behind the scene and doing whatever you are doing, asking God to help you. When God liberates you, channel your idea and your finance into something else. That you can be proud to say, this is what I worked for. This is what I achieved. That is true freedom fighting spirit. So if somebody come to tell you, he gave us a time, that time has elapsed, he's confused. He did that to Moses. Moses at a time went to get communication from Elohim at Mount Sinai. When they got there, and the thing took longer than they expected. They said, this Moses, he has lost his way. He can't lead us. This God has lost direction. The navigation that he was using is at fault. Now, let us put money to make a golden calf that will deliver us. Look at that. Remember, the gold they are about to use to make that calf was Elohim that told them to go and ask. When at the final encounter, Elohim made it look impossible to show you that this is not ordinary thing. For those who are asking, it wasn't ordinary. He said, go, while in the midst of these killings, in the midst of death, in the midst of plague, go and ask them to give you articles of gold, articles of silver, even diamond. Anything that you can ask them now, they will give it to you. Now, everyone went to different homes. I said, imagine somebody conducting funeral, and somebody comes to him and said to the family, please, we want you to give us your gold and silver. And they'll say, wait a minute, Abika. Instead of them to go and carry AK-47 or arrow, they will come out with boxes of jewelry and give it to you. Say, take, please, these are all that I have now. You can take it and go. Elohim now showed them that this, he said, for with God, all things are possible. For with him, I am with you people, all things are possible. Now go. Now they went and carried it. This is the same article that gave them that the evil one deceived them. Say, bring it out. Bring it out and let us mow the golden calf. That is what Obi Kanu and Uche Mofor is trying to do to you people. Bring your money. If the money that I have now is Elohim that deposited that money into your hand for such a time as this, to support Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB in whatever he says you want to do. He may not give you the business plan as Obi Kanu is asking him. Give us the roadmap. Give us the business plan. You think this is democracy?
Good morning and thank you for being with us. My name is Alero Edu. And of course, this is Sunrise. Of course, it's Saturday morning.
Well, yeah, I'm Ayo Makide. Have you had a choco? Oh, sorry. Coco. Coco.
My partner sometimes sips something before he comes on air.
Oh, yeah.
So please forgive him.
I sip my cocoa.
Yes.
Yes.
And I had cocoa.
You had cocoa?
Yes. There's a difference.
Is it with agumo?
We.
No, is it with agumo?
What is agumo?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, like akara. You did.
Nah. Soji knows what I'm talking about. Tony may not know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's like local medication. Yeah, you put some to help you. Well, but it's not NAFDAC you know,
It doesn't
have NAFDAC number, so I won't, you know, recommend that you that you go that tangent. I just asked if it was something, you know. You know, remember the last time we had the NAFDAC DJ, she said, oh, some of these things actually work, but they need data to back up the facts.
So that they will know what dosages and all.
Yeah, but you can't go to a pharmacy, local or international, and find Agumo with NAFDAC number.
Well, my partner has had his cocoa this morning. We don't know what else was in that cocoa.
Oh, it had honey. Just if you want.
That can't be all, my dear.
No, that's all it is. Look, babe, let's be honest. Okay. I'm already too high.
One of those.
If I take anything else, I can't be the most high.
And we can't afford that.
No, you don't.
We don't want to go there.
No, you don't want to.
Okay.
Before you begin to interpret into other things that could demand urgent national, that could become a matter of urgent national importance, if you know what I'm talking about. Well, you know, of course,
he takes something from time to time.
Because I don't know what happened at the floor of the House of Representatives this week. You remember?
Oh my God, the PIB.
That incident.
Yes, my people. I am embarrassed. You don't have to sheath it. You know, put it out in the open. Yes, my people from the Niger Delta. Well, they put on quite a show at the National Assembly. I think I'll leave it there. Thank you very much. They are my people. I'm the only one allowed to talk about them in that way. The Nin and the Sin. We're still talking about it because Nimsi is still in the news. And if you recall, a few weeks ago, a certain Mrs. Okoje sent us an email about those who reported that they can't get their NINs because, they can't submit their NINs.
Can't link their NINs to their numbers.
They can't link their numbers because the people who were their original service providers said when they ported, they cancelled their details. And the new guys say they don't have their details. So where exactly are they going to link? We still haven't heard anything from anybody. Mrs. Okoje, if you have a feedback, do send us a mail or a tweet before the end of this program so that we'll know exactly what has happened to you so we can tell others how to go about it, those others who have also ported.
Interestingly, when we spoke with
somebody called them porters.
Well, you know, back in time when we joke, we say, he who rules is a ruler. He who
pots is a potter.
He who cooks
is a cooker.
So, you know, we had the conversation with a former Alton president. I said, look, these things happen. And I gave a hypothetical me, you know, being someone like Mr. Okoje. And he said the same thing happened to him. Mm-hmm. Now, what did he do?
Okay.
Because of his own role, you know, former president of the Association of Licensed Telecom Operators in Nigeria, he knew who to talk to. So what he suggested was for anyone like me being the hypothetical person, because I didn't have to port porter. Hypothetical porter, oh God, porter. Anyway, so do a mail to NCC. If this has happened to me, this has happened to me, this has happened to me, what do I do? That information must not get to the EVC, the Executive Vice Chairman. Okay. Because if it does, that telco is going to come under serious scrutiny. It only brings up another challenge, which is loss of data. If you could lose data of, let's say, just 1 million Nigerians who ported from one telco to another, just imagine. And it so happens that their details fall into some wrong hands and they use them to perpetrate some crime or criminality, they are going to be in trouble. And I think, well, I believe that this linking of nin to sin is an attempt to prevent crime from happening. So imagine that kind of thing happening. What would be done? So I think the NCC needs to come straight up on that one, and let's let them know that this is not just happening. It hasn't abated since this whole issue began, and there's a whole lot of things about that one. That's aside the fact that there are people who are still struggling to get their
names, and that is something that I was hoping that somebody, the minister or somebody, would say something about, because from what the footages we see on TV, the clips we see of this trying to get your name in the NIMC offices, all you just think about is, oh my God, they're all going to pick up something from this place. And certainly, at this time of the pandemic, where the same government is telling us to social distance, to wash our hands, to wear our masks, and the same government is seeing this happening at one of its agencies, super spreader, if you ask me.
Oh, certainly.
That's going on, and this same government that is saying we should social distance and wear masks has not come out to say anything as to how we can easier get our names.
You know what's also interesting, and I know that we're going to get into the discussion later on today. What's also interesting is that the government has come up with these regulations, and then this regulation dates back to the very, very beginning of this whole pandemic, our efforts to curtail it.
Well, even though there's now been an amendment to it.
Whatever the amendments, the conversations with the ministries, departments, and agencies are largely insignificant. You were accosted, you remember that video? Was it a video that went around about a woman who went to a Nigerian Immigration Service office and says that the officer attending to her should wear his mask. Otherwise, she wouldn't receive service from him. And the fellow seized her passport. It's on Instagram. I think it was Alibaba that put it out.
Well, I guess we're now happy that the president has said that you must wear a mask. It is now a crime not to wear a mask.
What is interesting in this conversation, and because I've asked that question, is the people who are going to enforce the law, these regulations, are they wearing masks?
Are they aware that there is a law?
Are they wearing masks right now? Because they will receive a signal. There are a number of agencies, the police, the FRSC, the NSCDC, Immigration Service, Customs Service. They are the agencies to enforce the law according to that regulation, and other relevant local, state, and federal government agencies. Are they wearing masks? Well, we didn't see your face. So.
I didn't say anything.
Are they wearing masks?
Well, you see them standing along the roads, and you can see that their masks are all under their chin.
Yeah, there's like some beard, So, and then some people are even trying to enforce the regulations, and they have the mask across the mouth.
Yeah, somebody came to see me during the week. We're not wearing a mask, and I said, "Where's your mask?" He says, "It's in my pocket." So how were you able to come here in a bus without wearing? Say, "Oh, nobody was wearing a mask in the bus, so I didn't have to wear mine."
So part of the conversation that we should be having with ministries, departments, and agencies is that let them wear their masks in public.
Be the example.
Be the example. Because you see, when we talk about leaders, who are we talking about here? We're talking about every one of us, not just some
minister or senator
or House of Reps member or whatever.
You are a leader in your house because you are the daddy.
Absolutely. My daughter, the smallest of them, or my son, the smallest of them, is a leader. Because whether you like it or not, you know this better than I do, that you learn from your grandkids. You learn a thing or two from them. They lead you. That regard, for God's sake.
And when teacher insists that they wear their mask when they come home, Daddy, you are not wearing your mask.
Yes.
They call you to order immediately.
Because, I mean, for instance, the kind of iPad you used is different from the kind of iPad they use. You remember the iPad you used.
And they know how to use those things.
Yeah, but you needed your own, you remember your own iPad. And the
Slit.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Slit.
And you had a stylus.
Does my granddaughter know? Would she know what a chalk is? I suppose not.
My 20-year-old does not know.
Oh, okay. All right.
But by the way, still on this name thing, remember government licensed over 200 agencies, agents to do it.
Yeah.
Just over the week, one of the telcos, in the course of the week gone by, one of the telcos, put out notice that they want to begin enrollment in 2 cities, Lagos and Abuja, a few centers in Lagos and Abuja. They're about to begin enrollment of fresh people who don't have names.
Okay.
So, first of all, the word is not fully out. They have the license. It is part of what that the license that they received from the federal government. The question is, when are they going to begin to do enrollment, not just linking of name to
I'm
SIM?
sure they'll let us know.
The conversation that we hear about that one so far is they need to get certain equipment up to NIMSI standard. Well, maybe that's what is keeping them from doing it for now. Perhaps
And it's got to be linked to NIMSI to generate the numbers and all that.
Exactly. Because so that's the kind of handshake that we're waiting for. Is that what is going to come up from February 9? And
we only have 10 days to go before the deadline.
So, but I don't know. Will government, according to the analysis of Mr. Adebayo, is government going to block 20 million SIMs? Big.
Let's see how big that question mark is.
Quite big. Because
and service providers going to sit back and watch 20 million subscribers, or are they going to agree to block 20 million subscribers? Because that is a huge amount of income for them.
Data, texts, phone calls. At
20 million? That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
I guess we'll wait to see.
Yeah. If you live in Lagos, the Third Mainland Bridge is blocked again.
Just when I was thinking,
it's shut.
Right.
It's shut again, this time for 3 days.
Fully.
And we hope that this will be the last shutting of that bridge, because that bridge is the life of Lagos.
You're very right.
It's completely shut now, going and coming for 3 days.
And other bridges are not particularly fully on stream.
Not really.
To some people, experiences that people will tell you about. And meanwhile, we are still waiting for it's about time, really. What I'm just hoping, Alera, is we never get to a point where we wait for years for the maintenance to happen. It's the maintenance culture.
There should be a manual.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When we interviewed the Minister of Aviation, I think about 2019, it's part of what I raised with him. Well, don't we have a maintenance manual that this would happen from time to time to time to time to time?
And the times are specified?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need a new government to do that.
Yeah.
There is always a government in place. There are ministries, departments, and agencies whose job is to ensure that government is a continuum. Well, I don't remember what he said, because it definitely must have been unpersuasive for me.
Not to remember it.
Yeah, because maybe because even he doesn't have any. Because for the life of me, how would you need a minister to be in office to do your job? What's the minister got to do with maintaining the roads if there is a maintenance department in the Ministry of Transportation or Ministry of Works and Housing?
And
at the federal or state
headed
level?
by a director or a permanent secretary or whatever. You know.
And they have supervisors or whatever it is down the rank. So why would you need anyone to tell you, why would you need a minister to tell you to go and tar roads or maintain roads? I noticed that you're clearing your throat.
Yes, my throat suddenly became clogged.
Do you need maintenance?
Maybe. Maybe. Well, the president has said that wearing of masks is now compulsory when you step out of your house.
You know,
It's not the governor who said this time, it's the president. And that means even if you're a cow herder, you need to wear a mask. Well, I'd like to see who's going to enforce that one, with all we hear about these herders and their ilk. Fellow herders?
It goes back, you know, to what I said earlier. We have laws, we have rules, we have regulations. The people who are going to enforce themselves,
They have to comply.
One of us in this organization was stopped by a police officer, and he said that the woman should wear, roll down the glass. She said, nope, wear your mask. And the guy became irate. Oga, I'm here. Wear your mask, and then I will roll down my glass. You don't wear your mask, I will roll down my glass. The guy took offense. And they are the ones that are going to enforce the law. So that conversation needs to go that far. We also asked, I think the National Incident Director or Manager or whatever of COVID-19 response in Nigeria. On the one hand, you're saying that people should observe these protocols. On the other hand, Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy is asking people to go get their names under unpleasant circumstances. And while he was talking, we were showing videos of people at the gates. The officers, I think it was some NSCDC officials who were not wearing masks, trying to control the crowd and everything, and everyone was jammed, and no one was wearing any mask right there. I don't know what. I don't remember what he said.
Give up. Give up. Okay. But I suppose we're going to see more compliance from now on.
That's the hope.
Okay. Now, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, we're going to begin with Nigeria security architecture. And don't forget that with the new service chiefs now, expectations are very high. And so what comes next? I guess we'll see.
And then we'll be looking at ending the Oyo crisis. You didn't know there was crisis in Oyo? Well, there seems to be, and we're going to look at how we're going to end it. I'm sure it's the Ondo one you all heard about.
Well, yeah, there was the Oyo before, the Ondo, but then both of them seem to be going on somehow. A little largely resolved now, but what is new? I guess we'll find out in the course of time. COVID-19 protection regulations, that one signed by the president, will also be on the burner.
And then we have a she as our artist of the week. And as usual, we always bring you very interesting people as our artists. So you do well to stay with us till the end of the program. And so in the meantime, make yourself comfortable, get your cocoa and your cocoa.
No, you can only get one, please.
No, it's your choice.
Can you drink cocoa on top of cocoa?
No, either or.
No, you said ant.
Get your cocoa or your cocoa and be a part of today's program. See you in just a moment. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's get the show on the road. On Tuesday, the President, Muhammadu Buhari, appointed new service chiefs following the resignation of the former officers. The appointment of the new chiefs came after several shouts and, hue and cry, I'd say, concerning the insecurity in the country. And in fact, the National Assembly also added its voice to the hue and cry and the calling of the sack of the former service chiefs. So now that the service chiefs have been changed, we were told that they were not sacked, that they retired. Well, the important thing is that they are no longer there. So now that they are no longer there, what next? That is what we're going to be looking at this morning with General Cecil Esekaibe, a retired military officer who joins us from our studios in Abuja. Good morning.
Good morning, Ayo. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. And we have a security expert, Mr. Ona Ekomu, who joins us via Zoom. Good morning, Ona.
Good morning, Auntie Alero. I greet you.
Our in-house security expert. Now, let me start with you, Ona, since you've been on this topic forever. Now that the service chiefs have been changed, what exactly are your expectations?
Thank you very much, Auntie Alero. Well, I think the purpose of the change is to renew the impetus of the war against terror. I think really the challenge security has in Nigeria, that is the government has in terms of security, is these insurgencies, if you may, all over the place now. It's not just the Northeast. That's a misconception, thinking that the problems are located in the Northeast, they are on the Northwest. This so-called banditry problem is actually an insurgency going on there. They have, what is the definition of insurgency? It's a struggle with local support. And they are being supported by some chiefs, some big guys here, and even enabled by some state governments in the form of negotiation with bandits. So we've seen this everywhere. The herdsmen crisis in the Middle Belt is also an ongoing insurgency because they are supported, highly supported. And so what I'm trying to say is that we have so many crises, security crises around the country. And so I think the president's primary goal in changing the service chiefs at this time and in also making the pick he did, that's choosing the actors, was to give the struggle against insecurity a big shot in the arm and get some people who can bring in new ideas, new vigor, and perhaps robust thinking to the problem on ground, and such that we can start winning this war. Because right now, we are stalemated. We are not winning, they are not winning. And so it's a stalemate, and that's not acceptable. We cannot accept a stalemate. We've got to win.
So you are a retired military officer. I'll pick on something that Ona said, that the hope, well, his hope, is that these new officers will bring in new ideas and new verve into the fight to take us to where we want to be, as in we want to succeed in quelling this insurgency. You may even have worked with some of these people before. What are your thoughts and expectations of the president's choice?
A very deliberate exercise, because starting from the CDS, who was a principal actor in the Northeast, he was the commander of the Operation Lafia Dole, theater commander. And from there, he moved to Multinational Joint Task Force, which other countries synergize with Nigeria to prosecute the counterinsurgency. Now, you talk of the Chief of Army Staff, the new Chief of Army Staff. He was also a principal actor, being a commander too of the same theater. Then the Chief of the Air Staff was also a principal actor in the Northeast. He was a commander in one of the sectors, and he worked closely with the outgone Chief of Air Staff in the Operations Department. So also is the Navy. So I think that the choice of these service chiefs, is very instructive, that people who have had the experiences and fair share of successes and failure in their operations bring aboard to bring their experience to bear and see how, we can move forward.
Well, General, one of the things that readily comes to mind is from what you have said, they are eminently qualified, going at least from your own perspective. But expectations now would be on capacity and performance. They are definitely not expected to go to the fields themselves to, carry guns and all of that. So how significant, in your opinion, do you see this change of guards? As an officer, as a retired officer who, I don't know whether you can still be summoned to come serve at one capacity or another, how significant is this for the men on ground, given that so many people have asked for this for so long, and now that it has happened, how significant is this change? What has it done to the morale of the men? Is it one that's depressing or one that's boosted, their morale to perform? And how do you see that impacting on their response to whatever it is that the nation requires of them?
You see, before we get carried away with the euphoria of the change, we must understand that cautious optimism is the word here. Because if they are going to operate in the same environment, with the same equipment, and the same mindset, and the morale of the forces, you will not expect them to perform magic. So they definitely need, to get properly equipped. They need all what it takes, and they must leverage on technology. We cannot win that insurgency with the approach right now. Counterinsurgency is technologically driven. And that's why you hear of ISTAR. We talk of intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition, and reconnaissance. If you don't, take a firm position to provide the needed technology to drive what they are doing there, they're still going to have these shortcomings. And let me tell you, the important thing about this change of this service chief is instructive in the sense that all the former service chiefs, the CDS and 3 service chiefs, were all asked to go for a new set. So there is this hidden, or latent, drive of who becomes the CDS among the service chiefs that have robbed us on interagency cooperation. Lack of interagency cooperation, was really a big drag on the counterinsurgency effort. And now that the president has sent a strong signal that if I want to change service chiefs, there is no agreement that one of them must be CDS. So another thing is that these young men are all, closely related. While the CDS is cost 34, the Army chief and the Air Force chief are cost 35, the Navy 36. So they must be able to leverage on their training together in NDA, staff colleges and defense colleges to be able to bring to bear the need for this interagency cooperation, which was clearly lacking with the last set of service chiefs. So you have to give them an enabling environment. Change for change's sake is not going to take us there. So we must be deliberate. We have to reorientate our training. We have to reorientate our psyche. We have to know the politics and economics of purchase of weapons and equipment.
All right, Mr. Homo, you want to respond to that because on the one hand we have the new service chiefs. On the other hand, we have the same set of personnel that they have to work with, and perhaps the same set of equipment, going by what the general just said. What are your hopes still the same?
Well, yes, my hopes are very up. I think they're going to make a difference. You have a set of managers, you fire them, you bring in a new set, they turn the company around. What do you think happened? It's leadership. It's what they bring to the table. It's the kind of toolkit they bring to the table. It's the kind of background, the pedigree they bring to the table. That's what makes the difference. The same guys, the same workers you had all along, the same equipment So it begins from problem structuring, problem analysis. It begins from conceptual level. Like you said in your question to General Sessi, you said you don't expect the generals to carry guns, carry AK-47 and go to the front line. Yes, they don't. They are supposed to stay behind here and figure out what the game plan is going to be, or the war plan, if you may, and then execute that war plan. So it starts from the kind of planning that is going to go in there. What kind of theories, what kind of methodologies. Now, I have said, I sent out a release this week after the appointment. I said they must migrate to structured analytic thinking. I said they must predict victory ab initio. They must predict it. This is not, we are going to walk towards victory. Just say we are going to be victorious, and then now put all your resources together to make that happen. And so the point here is we cannot accept stalemate. We cannot accept a stalemate, and right now we are stalemated. So what is the other two outcomes? Either the bad guys will win, and you saw what happened this week. Boko has a sense of humor. Boko went out and attacked a village in Borno State and said to them, oh, just because they changed service chiefs, you think we are going to go away. No, we are not going away. So, those kinds of people, we've got to change their mindset. And the way to change that mindset is to take the war to them, because the thinking before now had been to play defense. We really need to play offense. The super camp strategy is a defensive strategy, and defensive in the sense that not defending citizenry, but defending the troops, which is good. We want the troops to be alive so that they can fight. But then what happens to the citizens? That's my question. So there's a lot of things that need to change. The kind of thinking that goes into the military strategy, the operational strategy, the tactics, that we have to have a lot of thinking there. We have to have convergent and divergent phenomena, cause and effect. What is causing this? What is the effect? And then how are we going to remove that cause so that it doesn't become a thorn, a continuous thorn in our flesh? So there are many things here. Let me give you some of what I mean. Take the northeast, northwest, northeast, we know what is going on there. But let's take the northwest, which is an emergent threat. Well, it has already arrived, but it's still emerging. It's going to get worse than it is right now. Now, the northwest threat, we have actors coming into this country from all over Africa, from Mujao, that is from the Sahel, Movement for the Unity of Jihad in West Africa, that's Mujao. We have them coming from Burkina Faso, we have them coming from Mali, we have them coming from Algeria, and all those fighters are just streaming unchecked into Nigeria. Of course, we have our usual neighborhood threats, that is Niger and Chad. Those guys are still marching into this country, and they without let or hindrance. So we need to dam that. That means block that continuous inflow. Now, a lot of people have said to me, but Dr. Ona, you are talking as if it's only the military. There are many other security agencies, such as immigration, such as customs. Yes, they are there. Well, to the extent that they are not doing their job or doing a good job of preventing this continuous influx or immigration of fighters, then something has to be done, because when they get to Nigerian soil, they are going to be killing Nigerian citizens and perhaps even Nigerian service personnel. We don't want that. So that's the whole point here. So we really need to have a new thinking. I heard the new CDS say yesterday, say you must add value. So how are we all, Sister Alero and my brother there at the studio, and certainly General is a military thinker. He's a great guy. How is every Nigerian going to add value now to this fight against insecurity in this country? That is the question we should be asking. But in terms of the service chiefs, their personnel, their material, that's their equipment, their munitions of war, yes, it might remain the same, but we are going to get different results. It depends on the thinking. It depends on the intellection.
I'm staying with you, Ona. You are mainly talking about Boko Haram, but across the country, there's banditry, there's all kinds of criminality going on, kidnappings and all that. all that will also come under the purview of the work that these new service chiefs have to look at. What are your thoughts about how to sort those out? For instance, during the week, we saw a video that went viral about kidnapping going on the Benin-Ore Road. Those kinds of things are also going on in the country.
Thank you, Salero. Those are all on the table of the new service chiefs. Certainly, there's no, because, you know, when you have some kind of an encounter, some kind of a situation of insecurity that exceeds the capacity of local law enforcement, then the military has to take over. And that's why we have JTF. JTF is Joint Task Force Operations in 35 states of the country. I think somebody was telling me the other day that it's now 36. So, and the Federal Capital Territory. So, you know, you are right. All these threats, that's why I described the Northwest banditry, that is threat, as an emergent threat. It hasn't reached the level of Boko Haram yet, but it's getting very close. And if we don't treat this cancer, it is going to kill the organism. It's going to just blow up, more than it is right now. And it's a concern. So what is really the implication of this threat that has now metastasized around the country? The implication of it is that the military is going to have to stretch its resources. Now, is the stretch of the military inelastic? No, it's not. So the commanders, the chiefs, they have to come up with new strategies of how to, let that resource go around. Now, I have said many times before, and even on your channel here, that we need to have subnational entities get involved in this Security Act. And many of them are, you can see what Amotekun is doing in the Southwest, and you can see what some vigilance forces are doing in some places. Now, we need to increase that. We need to intensify that participation by subnational entities, because leaving everything to the federal government or to these military guys, because we have to we have to use them as the troops of last resort, not as the first responders, as they are doing right now. So if we have Amotekun on the front line, arresting some bad guys from the bushes and bringing them out, they take them to the military or police authorities, whoever, and those ones incarcerate them or incapacitate them so that they can prosecute them, then that is good. That we are now extending. Now, but if there's a projectile encounter going on, there's a shooting encounter going on, and we are able to use some kind of force multiplier to get the authorities notified so that they can get to the scene, then they can bring that firepower. But we don't have how many? We have only 100,000 of them. So we don't have an inelastic number of military resources to put around the country, as it were. But we can use them in a smart way to enhance the national security of this country. And I think all state governors, and not just buying hillocks for police, all state governors must become involved in developing some local capacity. And the Inspector General has given a leeway already. He says, get your community policing initiative up. So get these vigilance guys. And
I beg your pardon, Honor. I do beg your pardon. When we return from this break, you will conclude on those thoughts before we go to the General. Stay with us. Welcome back. Dr. Ekomo, kindly conclude your thoughts about the other things happening in the country apart from Boko Haram.
Thank you very much, Galero. So I was saying that we have local governments right now in Niger State, Zamfara State, that are under, even Katsina State, that are under bandit control. So just not a lot, but a few, but they are winning in those local governments, and they are, in fact, let's put it this way, they are ruling in those local governments. So I would expect the local government chairman of those local governments to organize their own vigilance capabilities. In Katsina State, you have the Young Kasai. Let's empower these people. Instead of paying money to bandits that they will use to buy more guns from Libya and come and kill Nigerians, we should use those monies to enable our local vigilance forces fight. Now, I have said this also here on your channel many times, that Remember the 10-year war in Algeria, the dirty war. Now, how did they win that? It was the patriots. It was just local militia, local vigilantes that fought and won. Not that the army, of course, did its part. The military did its part. But it was the local vigilantes because they were the ones that were able to prevent kidnapping and killing of locals. Because look at what is happening. They won't come to attack Lagos City, for example. They won't go and attack Abuja frontally, a frontal attack. But they will attack rural areas. And what happens every time, every successful action by a terrorist is a statement of insecurity throughout the nation, and it gets amplified everywhere around the world, including on CNN. So, and of course, Channel Television too. So it's, we really need to stop that. And is that architecture that, kind of cascading security? We have the military at the apex. We have state resources like IGP Adamu has said, governors should set up their own vigilance forces. So you now have Amotekun and that. Then you still have at the base a vigilance force which is funded and organized by local governments. Now, what local government chairmen do right now, they run away to the cities and go and hide. Well, they should be stripped of their positions and their funds, because you can't stay in the city and be spending the money while your people are dying in the countryside. It's it's immoral.
Well, that makes good sense. Perhaps gives them some KPIs. By the way, that's something that we haven't talked about. Well, we've since been joined by Colonel Yomi Dare, who is also a retired military officer. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me on board.
Yeah, you know all this conversation about the retired service chiefs and the new service chiefs that have been nominated. Which appointment is yet to be verified or certified by the National Assembly. There are those who think maybe it's a good idea to give the service chiefs some key performance indicators. What's your take?
Well, thank you very much. I think it's indeed a new era in the security architecture. Talking about giving them indices for performance, I would like to say here that these new appointees, they have been in the system, and I don't think there's anything really new, in the system that they are not aware of. Everyone is just that I really feel for them, because the expectation of Nigerians is very, very, very high. There has been so much hue and cry since the appointment of the outgone service chiefs for their replacement.
Yeah,
and finally, this has come to be. So you can imagine that all the things have been reeled out. They have a long list. They'll have a long list. So I don't think there's any need for that. Yeah. I want to believe that.
But again, it goes back to what a number of people have said. I mean, you are aware of how people have been displaced with the previous, service chiefs that have just left office. So perhaps their thinking is, maybe it's because no one gave them any KPIs. They just keep doing what you're doing, fight insurgency. Okay, we are fighting insurgency. Terminate it at any given time. There isn't any such thing. Attain this particular milestone before such a time. Maybe because there wasn't any such thing. Those are theories that people are putting out there. You don't think that is necessary?
Let me quickly sound a note of warning here. We must be very careful in giving a timeline to things here. I mean, we are talking about war against terrorism. This is not a conventional warfare. This is a specialized, asymmetric kind of warfare. So it's really difficult for you to say that, okay, in so amount of or length of period, this thing should be over. Okay? I mean, we've been through all this. It has become rhetorics, Okay. We've been through all this in the past.
Colonel,
you will recall.
Colonel, but
yes,
also
please.
Recall that when the president took over in 2015, he did promise us that he would decimate Boko Haram within a year. And he used to be a general in the army.
Well, so that is why I'm quick to warn here that we have to be careful, when we want to put a time frame to such activities, because as a matter of fact, in training we are taught to assume that the enemy has a better training, has the same type of training, and even not, probably a better training than you have.
Okay.
So you have to be careful. So it's such a difficult, it's very dicey.
All right.
What gladdens me here that I want to put on record is that, especially two of the chiefs, like the chief of the present chief of defense staff, he is a veteran of the theater. He was the commander of the Operation Lafia Dole in the Northeast. And then, of course, the chief of army staff too, even though he had a very short tenure, but he too has, felt the heat there. So I want to believe that these gentlemen should have hands on deck to move us out of this quagmire.
All right, General, that notwithstanding that you have heard Colonel Dari talk about, there are certain specifics that a good number of people will have very high expectations about. For instance, we talk a lot about what's happening in the Northeast, the insurgency in the Northeast and how it has decimated a lot of communities and all of that. But then there is a consistent attack on people along between Port Harcourt and Bonny Island. Sea piracy has been a very troubling and thorny issue for those communities, the people who use that route, for a very, very long time. In fact, just a few weeks ago, they carried out some protests and saying that sea piracy needed to be ended. Their agitation was that there aren't what they call gunboats and houseboats along the roads, and consequently the sea pirates always had a field day. With a new chief of naval staff in office now, and that I'm just making an example of that one. There is what's happening in the Northeast, for instance. A good number of people are still wondering, will we ever be able to have the Chibok girls back, the rest of them, and stuff like that. So if we are to make examples of these two issues, talking to the Army for the Northeast and then the Navy for the sea piracy in the sea water areas of the nation, do we have what it takes?
Thank you very much. When Ona was talking about predicting victory, it gives me an idea of maybe we're going to be talking of prayers, and we're going to be talking of consulting imams and all that to predict victory. The truth is that as a Christian, I also know that they say the prayers without good works amounts to nothing. So suffice to say is that this complexity of security challenges are just lemons. You call it banditry, you call it kidnapping, you call it, the Boko Haram insurgency, whatever you have it. It's a complex, situation that also need a complex solution. Complex solution in the sense that you must do what they call need assessment. From the need assessment, you do what they call readiness assessment. And as a matter of fact, we often forget that the mission of the CEC, the intention of the commander-in-chief becomes the mission of the commanders. So we must reconcile these things. Then when you talk of capabilities is not measured just by, hoping on the future or what we say we are going to do when we don't have the means to back up what we want to do. And this is why there must be what they call defense review as soon as possible. We must be able to know what these challenges are and know the sources of these challenges. Last time I was in this studio, I talked about tackling these security menaces. And I talk about some three principal factors that must be considered. And thank God they are being addressed right now. The first one is the proliferation of small arms and light weapons, and the oxygen that is given for this to thrive. There's need to be a national commission. Not just having a national commission to be properly staffed. Now, the talk of drug, effect of drugs on these criminalities and their processes. Thank God Jeremiah has been appointed NDLA chair, and from his mission statement, I think there is proactive effort to nip this at the board. Then thirdly, I'm talking of, when I talk about being prepared to tackle this situation, I'm talking of capability as available. Let me tell you, in our sub-region here, for instance, the GDP of defense spending of Niger Republic is 2.8. Chad, 1.76. Cameroon, 1.10%. Nigeria in 2020 GDP on defense spending is 0.46. Whether you made first class in West Point or in NDA or whatever you train, you cannot fight with empty hands. According to General Wavel, no army moves with empty stomach. That brings upon the fact that you must have the morale of the troops at a very stable level. You must have the equipment you need to prosecute your war. Now look at the Niger Delta and its complexities. Now look at the Navy and the task given to Navy. Now, I want to see a defined synergy between NIMASA and the Navy, not on ad hoc basis. I think this is where the defense policy will actually streamline some of these things. I have to have a national security strategy now. Now, what is the input of the totality of the population in that national security strategy? Most of these criminal activities are driven, economic determined. They are driven by economics. And that is why they say winning the battle of heart and mind becomes very consequential. If you put the whole Navy on the sea, they don't even have the personnel anyway to be able to man the territorial waters. Because of this economic determinism, people are still going to come up from different areas to pose the same challenge. We talk of kidnapping. It's the same area. But one thing that is clearly lacking is what they call holding people accountable. I'm here to see how many kidnappers that have been arrested, tried, and prosecuted, tried, and jailed, which may serve as deterrent to others. In the sociology of crime, the cost must not outweigh the benefit. If the benefit outweigh the cost, it continues to thrive. But when the cost is prohibitive, the crime will be less. We should stop sermonizing and take security in totality. And that's what they call smart power. Military approach alone will not help. You also need the battle of winning the heart and mind. So a combination of this gives what they call smart power. Because a hungry lot are very, very accessible for recruitment for all sorts of criminal activities. Whether in the Northeast, in the Northwest, and this, we must have a holistic approach. Then, the ad hoc arrangement I was still talking about. What training does the state governor have to negotiate with criminals? Once you negotiate with criminals and give them money and you think they have surrendered weapons, do you even know the type of weapon they have submitted to you? Do you know the functional status of that weapon they submitted to you? All these are just showmanship. Let us face this thing holistically. Now the government has redefined a new process, appointment of service chiefs, reorganizing other complementary sectors that will help, to form this national security strategy we are talking about. And let us see the mindset of Nigerians. Like I said, these service chiefs are not coming from Jerusalem or Jeddah. They are Nigerians. Konadare said they have been in the system. Yeah, they have been in the system. They are part of the processes and all the things of the system. It will look as if the outgoing chief never has strategy. They have strategy. But let us put our strategy into effect by giving the enabling environment, the tools and equipment to prosecute this counterinsurgency and the attendant security calculations.
Now, Dr. Ikomo, you spoke earlier about the influx of all kinds of people into Nigeria, and you mentioned a few of the organizations to which they belonged. But you security people have often told us that Nigeria has a lot of porous borders. So how do we go about plugging these porous borders and ensuring that all and sundry are not coming into Nigeria to perpetrate all kinds of crime?
Thank you, Auntie Alero. I think I have called for before the recruitment of a 10,000-man special marshal group that will line the borders, that will man the borders. We have 1,000, almost 2,000 porous borders into the country, footpaths, those kinds of things. But much of the problem we have is that the ECOWAS Treaty, which grants free movement to citizens of the sub-region, is a problem. Now, the recent border closure, which has been partly reversed, was not successful in stopping citizens of the sub-region from entering, particularly people who claim to be herders, and particularly that's the northwest borders, and then that's the Niger borders. So there is so much movement of all kinds of threats into the country from those areas, and there must be a concerted effort at putting resources, and that's why I called for that 10,000-man special marshal group. Now, even if the immigration service doesn't want to hire all those people, they don't want to bloat their budget, but this is an existential threat to Nigeria, and I think we should look at what is going to harm us perhaps irreparably and do something about it. But right now, we don't even understand that to be a problem. We just think, oh, they are our brothers from around the sub-region, let them come in. But they come in and they are carrying AK-47 inside their Okada. That's how you get all these 100 Okadas attacking a community in Zamfara State and sacking the place. Look at just a day before yesterday, we lost about almost 100 persons to bandit attacks in the tri-state area, Niger, Katsina, and I think Zamfara also. I mean, that's too much to bear. Why should, terrorists come in and kill these people here, and it doesn't really bother us? It's like, let's appease them. That's not going to do it. That's absolutely not going to do it.
Dr. Omo, you've raised some germane issues again, which seem to reiterate something you said earlier and which General also referenced. But it's something that I would also like to take you on when we return from this break. Well, thanks for saying this. Dr. Omo, you spoke largely the other time about involving local governments. Valid and granted. But then you also, emphasize the need to involve the locals at the bottom, so to speak, of the security architecture in Nigeria. But then the question you want to ask is this something we can use as a blanket recommendation? Yes, it worked with the civilian JTF, in the Northeast. But what would you say for the piracy issue in Bonny, Port Harcourt, Bonny, Kingdom Route, for instance? How will the locals play any role?
Thank you very much, sir. It's a different threat and it's a different environment. While the locals can go into the bush and look for threats there, that's look for the kidnappers and other people who are intent on doing harm to Nigeria, say in Osun State or even right now in Ondo State or Edo State for that matter. In the littoral environment is slightly different. Now, certainly, you can have local patrols. That's locals patrolling. That means if people are embarking on the journey from Port Harcourt to Bonny, just to reference what you referenced just now, you can have some local guys with perhaps armed personnel. It can be government GSF, government security personnel on board with them, just like it's done for the IOCs. The IOCs, most of them are not being protected. They are all protected by the Nigerian Navy when they are moving assets or when they are drilling. But a lot of the infrastructure is provided by private security. So don't kid yourself in thinking that Navy has enough assets to protect IOCs when they move around their drilling assets and all that, and when they run their operations in a littoral environment. So that's the same thing I'm saying here.
Thank you for that.
Sorry,
one. No. We lost you for a second or two. Have you concluded your thoughts on that matter?
I'm saying that we could add that's some harden the transport. Harden it means put some armed personnel, and they could the same security architecture I'm saying from the bottom. That's the base security architecture. It will be a local government. Let's say, for example, could have provide the what do you call it, vigilance forces, and they would escort boats. And there will be kind of a timed travel, boat travel, so that all the boats that are moving over, they are escorted. It's like when the IOCs move, they put naval boats in front. Now you don't have enough naval access. That's what I'm saying, to protect all transportation. But you could have local assets to fill in between. And I mean, what these people capitalize on is that they are attacking soft, undefended targets. So if we harden the targets a bit, they'll move somewhere else or they'll be discouraged.
A little risky, empowering or arming locals who do not have military training. I mean, if you give weapons to them, the thinking in some circles would be, what if they also turn radical?
Well, there are things that can be done to these people have to go through vetting. That, remember, I said a vigilance force. I didn't say every citizen should come and carry a gun and go and defend others. I said a vigilance force, which means the state government or the local government. I don't even want to get to state yet. State has its responsibility. Obiakpo local government, that's what I'm calling. Obiakpo would get people, they will be vetted by the police system, by the security system, even they will get some DSS training, and they will now provide that cross river transportation for those people, and they are, they'll be licensed and they'll be known. So they cannot become the problem, or they should not become the problem. We have to go to a system where after all, the soldiers that you are referring to, they are citizens of Nigeria. They are not from the moon. They are citizens who are vetted and trained to provide the service. We can also do that with people at the bottom of the totem pole of the security ladder.
Dari, I beg your pardon. Colonel Dari, maybe that's something in the offing. Who knows? There are two things that he has spoken to now. Number one, the involvement, role, or functions for state governors or governments across the nation. Then he has also spoken to that interagency collaboration. In all of these conversations, we have sparsely mentioned the police. And according to the Constitution, we know the role the police is supposed to play in internal security. Would you say that we are overly stretching the military for this function?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, you just took that out of my thoughts. I mean, the military, for crying out loud, specific functions of the military is to defend the territorial integrity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and then also assists when called upon that is insurrection and what have you.
As is the case now.
Well, yeah. Well,
you don't think it's the case?
I really don't think it's the case, because I believe that some of those things are still, in the purview of police or policing. And that's why we must, still consider properly the issue of community policing and state policing. Honestly. Because, what we just succeed in doing lately is overexposing our military.
So you don't think that the call for the change of guards in the military would have played any significant role in stemming the tide of insecurity in the country?
Well, I haven't said that, mark my words. I haven't said that. But of course, under normal circumstances, the change of guard was quite appropriate, because ordinarily in deployment in the military, there is an expected, period that, personnel are expected to stay in certain position or ranks or appointment, such that they will give room for others too, because the pyramid, okay? So I haven't said that. But what I'm saying here is that, the military is overstretched. And the military is further exposed because we talked about interagency collaboration or cooperation. Here, people have roles to play. For example, as Dr. Ona mentioned, we have over 2,000, borders. So that what we're saying is that our border is porous, and these borders should be manned. In fact, the entire Nigerian army is not, if you march out to roll out the entire Nigerian army, they cannot, man or manage the situation we have at hand here, because by the time you are moving them from this place, you are also exposing the other flank, okay? So allow them to face their primary function, okay? So you have the custom, you have the immigration they should be called upon to do their job. And I am not for creating another special marshal for the borders, because here you probably will start having duplicity of efforts here. And then probably, so why can't we just, manage and take care of the welfare and fund what we have right now, rather than, proliferation or creating some other bodies. Okay. That's just what I
do you think that the police is making any impact in this war that we are fighting?
Well, I think they are within their training and their resources, or what they are allowed to do,
In that light, then, would you say that the police as is well positioned and capable of taking over from where the military is at this point?
I cannot beat my chest to say yes for that.
So you would say then that we still need the military where we have them?
Absolutely, we need the military.
Okay.
But the military should kind of take some back position, and then the police should come forward and do what they need to do.
General, as we take this home now, you talked about needs assessment the other time, and the question a number of people might want to ask you is, given the variety of the challenges that we have on our hands, banditry, armed robbery, kidnapping, sea piracy, and the rest of them, talking about needs assessment, do you think it makes any sense for us to prioritize one now in the light of the challenges that we have on our hands and the limited resources?
Unfortunately, the security challenges now have become malignant, and in fact they are miscellaneous. So prioritizing now is going to be a little bit difficult. So what we need to do is to put in efforts to holistically, see how we can, tackle these challenges. And if you look at what my big brother Daddy was saying, is that, the military has been overstretched. And I think about the 36 states now, their presence is just there. And secondly, thirdly, the police, seem to be incapable of addressing the internal security challenges. And not because they have failed, just because they don't want to do their job, but because of the same inadequacies in equipment, in training, and manpower. So let us look for a holistic approach to these issues. Now, the whole thing has been complexified, that withdrawing the military now to say, police, go and do your job, will be a full paradise, live in the full paradise. Or let us tackle the situation and stabilize it before we now start to re-emphasize the statutory roles of police, the statutory roles of the military, vice versa. It's a complex problem. Let us look at, when I say need assessment, what do we need to do and how are we going to do it? And I followed up by saying readiness assessment. If you know that we have in the security calculation gamut, banditry, kidnapping, the insurgency, and terrorism as they are, what are we supposed to do to tackle this? And evidence has shown that military approach alone will not solve this issue. And let me take you for instance. Somebody was talking about getting the locals, to help to stem some of this, the tide of this insecurity. A hungry local and a bandit or a kidnapper gives a local 50,000 naira. How are you going to cut his loyalty? How are you going to cut his patriotism? There is a disconnect between our value system and the need to survive. So if you don't tackle that, we're just going to be wasting our time. If you bring 1 million local and vigilantes without, appropriately kitted, nobody fights with hunger. We must address this issue. It's a fundamental thing.
Out of time now, so I just have to take your last word on this in one sentence, please. Your last word, General.
My last word is that the new service chiefs have been appointed. There's so much jubilation in the air, but I emphasize cautious optimism. They need the tools to do their job, to make a difference.
Thank you. Dr. Ekomo, your last word?
I have a last phrase: soft target